Let's rewind for a moment and think back to 2023. If you even whispered the word dinar in a financial conversation, the reaction was instant and brutal. The moment you said Iraqi dinar, boom, people would shut you down. Don't even go there. Stay away. That was the environment. Banks didn't want to hear it. Financial advisors rolled their eyes. Even friends and family would look at you like you had just fallen for the biggest trick in the book. But fast forward to today, and something has clearly shifted. Now when you say Iraqi dinar, the reaction isn't automatic rejection. Instead of it's a scam, you're hearing, or would like to talk to you, or how can we help you? That's not a small change. That's a massive difference in tone, perception, and openness. And if you're paying attention, you understand that tone is everything in the financial world. Back in 2023, if you heard someone mention the dinar being a scam, it wasn't 1 out of 10 people saying it. It was 10 out of 10. It was the dominant narrative. Media headlines were negative. Online discussions were aggressive. Comment sections were brutal. The word dinar carried stigma. Now, if someone calls it a scam, it feels more like 1 out of 10. The majority are no longer dismissing it outright. Instead, they're asking questions. They're curious. They're researching. They're watching. And that shift from ridicule to curiosity is powerful. Think about what that really means. Markets move in stages. First comes denial. Then comes quiet positioning. Then comes acceptance. And finally comes participation. In 2023, we were clearly in the denial stage. Nobody wanted to be associated with it publicly. Even people who were interested kept it quiet. Today, it's not a secret conversation anymore. It's being discussed openly. Financial institutions are more cautious with their words. Governments are more strategic in their statements. Media coverage is more balanced instead of purely dismissive. When something moves from taboo topic to open discussion, that's not random. That's evolution. And let's be honest, scams don't gain credibility over time. Scams collapse under scrutiny. They fade away. They get exposed and disappear. But what we're seeing here is the opposite. We're seeing increasing awareness, increasing dialogue, and increasing institutional attention. That alone should make you pause and think when you hear, "It's a scam." Ask yourself, is that reaction based on current data, or is it based on old narratives from 2023? Because narratives can lag behind reality. People repeat what they've heard without checking if the environment has changed. Look at the difference in tone from financial conversations now compared to 3 years ago. Banks are more structured in how they respond. Regulatory discussions are more nuanced. Instead of laughter, there are formal replies. Instead of mockery, there are explanations. That's maturity entering the conversation. And maturity in financial discourse is not accidental. Another key shift is public awareness. Back in 2023, most people didn't even understand the mechanics of currency markets, redenomination discussions, or central bank policy. Everything was lumped together under one dismissive label. Today, more people are educating themselves. They're reading central bank reports. They're watching geopolitical developments. They're analyzing macroeconomic indicators. The conversation has become more informed. On this channel, Iraqi Dinar, we've always emphasized something important: separate emotion from analysis. Don't get swept up in hype, and don't get buried under fear. Look at the facts. Look at behavior changes. Watch what institutions do, not just what random voices online say. The difference between 10 out of 10 calling something a scam and 1 out of 10 doing so is huge. That's not a small percentage shift. That's a complete transformation in public sentiment. Sentiment drives markets. Perception shapes opportunity. When everyone rejects something, it's either because it's truly worthless or because it's misunderstood. Time reveals which one it is. And what we're seeing right now is not disappearance, it's normalization. Another point worth mentioning is how language has softened. In 2023, the language was absolutely never, impossible, guaranteed scam. Today, the language is conditional. Let's review. We're monitoring. We'll evaluate. That change from absolute dismissal to conditional engagement is critical. It means the door isn't slammed shut anymore. And when doors start opening, even slightly, serious observers take notice. This doesn't mean blind optimism. It doesn't mean ignore risks. It means acknowledge evolution. Financial landscapes change. Countries reform policies. Central banks adjust strategies. The global economic dynamics shift. Nothing stays frozen in time. The biggest mistake investors make is assuming equals perception equals today's reality. Ask yourself, why would institutions shift from rejecting the conversation to entertaining it? Why would media tone soften? Why would more professionals engage instead of ridicule? Because something has changed, and when something changes in the background, it usually changes quietly first. By the time headlines catch up, the positioning phase is already well underway. If you're part of this community, you've likely noticed the difference. Conversations that used to get shut down instantly now continue. Questions are answered instead of mocked. That alone shows you the temperature of the room has shifted. On Iraqi Dinar, our goal isn't to create hype, it's to observe patterns. And the pattern here is clear: stigma has decreased, curiosity has increased, and the topic is no longer treated as forbidden. It's not a secret anymore. Everybody knows. That statement carries weight. When awareness spreads, control of the narrative weakens. Information becomes harder to suppress. Discussions become broader. Transparency increases. In financial history, the early stages of major shifts are always controversial. They're debated. They're doubted. They're criticized. But over time, clarity replaces confusion. We're witnessing a transition phase. Not chaos, not hysteria. Transition. And if you're paying attention, you're not reacting emotionally. You're observing strategically. So the next time someone says, "It's a scam," ask them if they're speaking from 2023 or from today. Because the environment today is not what it was back then. The reaction has changed. The tone has changed. The openness has changed. And in markets, when perception changes, opportunity often follows. Stay informed. Stay patient. Stay analytical. This is Iraqi Dinar, and we're here to watch the shift unfold step by step.